Well, Gemini, it's November 2019, and here's your horoscope again. Let's move the wheel of time, that wheel of karma, to check out what's going on here. And the first thing that comes to mind is this stationary retrograde Mercury taking place right there on the second day of the month. Notice here there's a strong energy with Venus moving out on the second from this sixth house, which has to do with your work. Now, the sun in the sixth house is important. It rules your third house along with your ruling planet. And this has to do with the courage to do things. The third ruler in the sixth house is excellent. It's actually very lucky. It brings with it some additional financial benefits. But please be mindful of the fact that when we have the retrogression, there is some review that is going on in terms of your work. This has a slightly different connotation to this 10th house, where we see the moon moving around the 7th, but will definitely involve this 6th house, which is more the workplace practices rather than what you achieve in terms of your esteem, in terms of fame, and that sort of thing. And you can see the visionary nature of these transits this month as the moon and Neptune make contact here in the 10th house. But this retrogression shows a review and a revamping of, I think, the way that you're approaching work. Well, it can be the work itself, but it can also be just the attitude and the way you've been approaching work. So if you're not happy with a particular task or the people that you've been dealing with, of course, you're bringing that energy into the environment of your work, and that's going to actually dramatically influence the quality and the outcome of the work. And a lot of people don't think about that part of work, the energy you bring to it. It's not just the time and the money you earn and doing the work properly. You can do the work properly but still hate it. It's got to do with the amount of love. And here we see again an important transit of the full moon there on the 13th, after it's just passed that scatty sort of Uranus energy. So here with the retrogression of Mercury, the hyper emotional energy, you've got to be a little bit careful that you're not shooting from the hip, you're not being over emotional about the decisions and the manner in which you want to revamp this work. But to me, it's a positive one, and one of the dictum of retrograde planets is that if the planet is beneficial to you, which it is in your case, it rules the the sun sign or the rising sign or moon sign, if you know that, and also your fourth house, which is peace of mind and happiness. So the retrogression of positive planets actually empowers those planets. So this is a good month for your work, and I would say also for your health, but you may be giving some thought to that aspect of your life as well. Very, very lucky combination here. We've talked about Jupiter over the last year or so being here in your 7th house, which energizes your relationships and brings a lot of good fortune there. But a double whammy, positive double whammy, having Venus, your ruler of the 5th house, Libra, here, bringing a lot of love to the relationship. Isn't that sweet? How romantic. But it's true. Now, apart from the romantic implications of this transit, which is also triggered here, have a look at when the moon makes these blue lines. These are what we call augmenting aspects or favorable aspects to the already lucky aspects. And this 7th house may not only deal with the personal relationships that you have, but the business partnerships, any sort of arrangement you have with the general public. So in short, that is a very positive influence for you during the month of November. You'll see here there's an augmentation of this by virtue of the sun moving into this 7th house. Now, the third ruler, which rules Leo, your 3rd house, 1, 2, 3, indicates some change. And of course, your 7th house here is Sagittarius, which is, shooting for the stars. So you have a lucky combination here, but it also shows us a desire to make some really strong changes. Notice also that after the 23rd, Mercury went forward here, and there's the moon, activating this, along with a very empowering Mars. Mars is very well placed here in this sixth house. So while the first part of the month was tuned into planning the appropriate changes you want to make in your work, to your health, to relationships with co-workers, Mars here now brings with it that full-on energy, the power to actually do. It's the action planet. So that is very favorable. Then a little bit of intimacy here with the movement of Venus into your 8th house, and that's very lovely because it brings a lot of love, a lot of sexuality into the picture. And coming in contact with this South Node has a lot to do with your past karma and what's been going on in the past, and how maybe some of your, I guess, sexual and intimate experiences have been, I guess, coloured, maybe discoloured, by what went in the past. So this transformative area of your horoscope is all about releasing yourself from the past and, you know, approaching your relationships with a completely open and vulnerable attitude. So that's all really, really good. And you'll notice too that towards the end of the month there was another new moon taking place here, again in this 7th house. There's a lot of energy here relating to your relationships, your personal one-on-one relationships with your spouse, your lover, and people generally. So the new moon is a new chapter. Excellent stuff. Join me at astrology.com.au. There's more on the month in question, more on your year coming up. I've already done the 2020 yearly forecast, 3,000 words for you there, absolutely free. Readings with me aren't, but if you're partial to that, I'm open to hearing from you. Drop me a line if you've got any questions, and by all means subscribe, and I will definitely see you next month. Take care. Bye-bye.